Hello and welcome to Very Interesting. I'm Phillip Britt, your host. Joining me today is Dr. Andrew Moore, a hematologist oncologist at Mercy Hospital Southeast in Cape Girardeau. Dr. Moore, welcome to Very Interesting.
Thank you.
So glad to have you here.
Yes, thank you.
We're excited to have you here and to talk to you about yourself, who you are, and then a lot of things about what you do. So tell us, first of all, who is Dr. Andrew Moore?
Well, I had the privilege of being born in Kennett, but growing up in Hornersville, Missouri, our southernmost town in the state. Right. Grew up there my entire life. Went to school at Zenith Hornersville. Had probably the most Mayberry type of childhood existence that you could. Loved small town, riding bikes, coming home at dark. Getting to play every sport, not necessarily because you're the most talented, but because you're needed.
They need the bodies, right? I understand
yes,
that.
Yes, knew how to set a screen and throw a good pass. So,
right.
Growing up there, still some of the fondest memories that I have. Also, family is all still there. We were kind of a small family, but grew up and was fortunate enough to have actually two sets of grandparents that were alive and very present and close to me my entire life. And so summer times were spent when not working watermelons and cantaloupes. They were spent playing golf with other grandparents. And so moved away, went to college in Kansas City at UMKC. And from there, med school. In Kansas City, did my residency there, and then my Hematology Oncology fellowship at Vanderbilt in Nashville, and then moved to Cape Girardeau in the summer of 2013.
And were you at Southeast right away?
Yes, so I got recruited by Southeast Hospital at the time, and so I've been there. Actually, this month is my 12-year anniversary of joining Southeast Hospital at the time, and then last January, we were acquired by Mercy Health System, so now we are Mercy Southeast Hospital.
Exactly.
Yes.
And how's that gone? How's that gone so far?
Hopefully none of the C-suite folks up in St. Louis tune in to this. No. It's gone great, honestly. There's a few things that you miss about a more nimble organization when they're smaller, but for me as a physician, my day-to-day and being able to take care of patients, things have only improved. Yeah. And truly, if you look at healthcare economics and where things are going, I think for the region, Mercy coming in and acquiring Southeast is really the best thing that could happen for us, because we will have good, high-quality healthcare in our region for generations to come.
And even, in not just in Cape Girardeau, but in outer areas too. I mean, you were in Dexter today, so.
Correct.
Yeah.
That was one of those decisions that I think coming into Southeast at the time that I did, being a smaller organization, that was one of my goals moving back to Cape is, hey, want to be in the region, but also give back to the area where I grew up that gave me so much. And so for 11 years now, Southeast and now Mercy has given me the opportunity to have an oncology clinic in Dexter that's grown from a half day 2 times a month to 2 full days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays with me and a nurse practitioner. And they're the busiest days we have. I mean,
sure.
The need is real.
And I'm sure that covers almost all the area down here. I mean, it's so much easier for someone to be able to drive to Dexter if they live in Kennett or they live in New Madrid to come here instead of going to
exactly. And, tough economies are tough on everyone. And, the ability to save people 2 hours round trip on gas and just fatigue, family members having to take off of work, it's pretty special. I actually looked into it last year. So in 2023, we treated patients from 13 different counties in our Dexter facility.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
I mean, that if you just think about that, average 13 different counties.
That is
that's
amazing.
yeah.
Well, so it also tells you a little bit about the state of rural health care? You know, I mean, you grew up close enough to Kennett and were born in the Kennett Hospital, undoubtedly, as I was. And that hospital no longer exists. I mean, the building does, but it's not a hospital. It's just falling apart. And so, you know, that's having to come to here, having to go to Cape, having to go to Jonesboro. That may have been the case for, you know, for expertise, but we had a hospital locally, and that's a challenge for a lot of rural America.
I think that is the biggest challenge for rural America, and that's the piece. I'm glad you said that. You can't be all things to all people,
right?
But being able to get that emergency care in the rural settings, I think that's got to come down from federal legislation to help that out, because you know, I mean, if you live in Kennett right now, I mean, you have a stroke or a heart attack, you're an hour away from anyone that can truly help you.
Right.
And time is tissue.
I mean, there's not even in Kennett. I mean, there's not even a triage situation. I mean, you can get to Piggott, you can get to Hayti, they can triage you and send you somewhere else, but you still got to go somewhere else.
And the triage is the key. And so you're right. But
you're still 30 minutes.
You're 30
away.
minutes from triage.
Exactly.
Well, then triage to life flight is, you know, you're lucky an hour. I mean, it really is the access issue for that type of emergency, potentially life-saving care is a big issue.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because emergencies, they happen nights and weekends.
Sure, they do. And why would someone want to retire and move back to a town that is in that situation? You know, I mean, my mother lives with us. She's 90, will be 90 years old next month. All of her doctors are in Cape. I mean, it would make more sense for her to be somewhere closer, but she lives with us because she has to live with us. But it's a challenge.
It is, and you know, I've got a soft spot because that's where I grew up.
Sure.
But you know, my parents are aging, and my sister and I have that discussion a lot. I actually had a patient, a young gentleman, patient that is trying to get his parents to move out of Kennett up to Cape, where he is, just purely because of their health and the proximity to medical services.
And I know older people who have made that choice and who have left Kennett to go somewhere else. Absolutely. So have you always wanted to be a doctor?
No, it's funny. So one of those moments, you call them God winks or whatever. I was the summer after my freshman year of high school, loved playing baseball, and I was a decent baseball player. But summer baseball, you play, you know, 8 games in 3 days, and you run out of pitching. I wasn't a pitcher, but I was a catcher, and we needed 5-6 innings. And I remember playing one night, and the next morning, I told my mom, I'm like, I can't brush my hair. I can't comb my hair. Something's wrong. Long story short, through rehab over a year, nothing really improved, torn rotator cuff, and ended up going and seeing a very young doctor at the time. His name is Dr. Matt Matava, who's at Washington University. And at the time, he was the Cardinals and the Blues and the Rams sports medicine shoulder, kind of upper extremity and knee guy. And I was so impressed from day one. And, you know, surgery didn't go the greatest, and he went the extra mile. And actually, one time, you remember Alan Bennis, Andy's brother, had the same shoulder surgery at the same time. He knew that Dr. Matava knew that I was frustrated, and he had Alan Bennis call me and give me some encouragement. And I, even though the shoulder never really worked out, I think that was for a reason, because one day he just asked me, he was like, Andrew, what do you want to do with your life? And at the time I was like, well, I'm really trying to rehab. I want to go to Three Rivers and play baseball. And he goes, Andrew, that's not like what are you going to do? You're not going to be a professional baseball player.
What about your life?
Yeah. He's like, I see, you know, you make good grades and seem like a good kid. And I was like, I don't know, you know, go to college and do something. And he's like, have you ever thought about medical school, and he introduced me to the concept of the 6-year program at
Right.
UMKC, where he had gone to school. And honestly, that probably took him 30 seconds for a 16, 17-year-old
Right.
kid. He took an extra 30 seconds to engage me,
Yeah.
and I thought so much of him and was so impressed by him that really that got my wheels turning, and I was
Sure.
like, man, that does seem fun. So it was kind of an ignorance is bliss type situation, because looking back, I'm like, I'm glad I didn't truly understand all the years that it took.
6 years didn't sound like bad,
No,
bad
no,
at all, did it?
No, but you're like, that's just the start.
Exactly. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story. Are there other people that kind of influenced you along the way, from childhood on through?
I hit on it a little earlier, but my sister and I talk about this a lot. We were so fortunate that all 4 of our grandparents lived within 15 miles of us. I mean, our first grandparent passed away when we were both in our 30s. And they both, the Moores and the Slinkards, impacted us so much equally, but in different ways. And I will have to tell you, my grandfather, Max Ray, was, probably has had the most impact on anyone in my life. I used to tell him when I'd come home from school or residency, I'm like, Granddad, watermelon and cantaloupe fields made med school real easy.
Right.
But just the support, but also just, man, he was proud. And
Sure.
I think probably everyone in the Boot Hill knew he was proud. But
Absolutely. Probably not a summer went by that my father didn't bring home one of Max Ray Moore's watermelons. My dad was the ASCS director for 30 years, and they would just show up. Max Ray would come in, he would talk to him, he'd leave, he'd go out at the end of the day, and there's a watermelon in his car. Left his car open, he just put it in the car. And so we grew up on Hornersville watermelons. We eat Clarkton watermelons too, but we grew up on those watermelons. So he was quite a man for sure. Absolutely.
No. Thank you. And then yes, I look back and through childhood, through obviously a very wonderful family, but just coaches and principals. And then when I got to college and into medical school, mentors that just came out of nowhere that just said, hey, I just had a feeling that I need to watch out for you, and like you're going to be mine, and treated me like sons.
That's great.
And still some of the strongest professional relationships I have today, and through training, and then even moving to Cape Girardeau, and still mentored today. And I would say, Jim Limbaugh recruited me to Cape Girardeau, and I'm like, my best friend in Cape Girardeau is same age as my parents, but it's those types of relationships all through life.
And now you get the opportunity to serve with him on the Board of Governors at SEMA.
Yes, which has been again another one of those positions that I'm so glad I'm doing it. It's highly rewarding, but there's a lot to it, which, as you know.
Exactly.
As you know.
Right. So you go to medical school. What made you decide oncology is where I want to go?
So I didn't really decide oncology until I was in my residency, but maybe it's genetics or God's will, but my my hands aren't too steady, and so I kind of knew surgery wasn't my thing. But I loved internal medicine and all the subspecialties. But it was my intern year in residency when I spent a month on the oncology wards, where I was like, okay, this is it. This is something that I can do the next 45 years of my life. And truly, it's a field that hits both sides of the brain, because there is not a field of medicine that is evolving and changing and improving any quicker than oncology. But we also have the benefit of kind of the old school physician-patient relationship where I see my patients a lot.
Sure.
And I'm not pressured to just get them in and out, get them in, you know. We have the time to really develop a relationship and learn who each other is and what's important. And so I tell people all the time, since I'm not talented enough to be on the PGA Tour, I have the best job in America.
There you go. Well, you do, but it's got to be hard, because when you tell someone or you have that conversation with someone or a family that they or a member of their family has cancer, that's got to be one of the hardest things they've heard in their entire lives. So how do you handle that? How do you deal with that part of it?
That's a great question, and I get it a lot. And my first response to that question is, life is all about perspective, okay, and setting that groundwork. If I got professional fulfillment or satisfaction out of cures versus no cures, it's a tough job. Now, I tell people all the time, I would love to be out of a job. You know, sure. I tell people all the time, it's the most unfortunate job security there is. But when the number one goal in those situations where, and these are more advanced cancers, is first, my job is to relieve suffering. Yeah. If you can relieve suffering and extend and improve the quality of life and help them live longer, that's the win. And you know, it may seem like a snail's pace, but I'm telling you, things truly are improving at warp speed, in my opinion. And a lot of it has to do with harnessing the power of the immune system, you know, and we've just hit the tip of the iceberg as far as the immune system and kind of how to train or improve or restore itself into fighting cancer for us.
Well, and that makes sense, because somehow the body has allowed or created or cells that are now attacking it. So how do we then switch that around? There's got to be a switch somewhere to switch that back. I mean, it's not that simple, but it maybe is.
So yes, in theory, absolutely, right. You are correct, and that's why, you know, it's what I tell patients a lot of times. It's trying to restore the normal checks and balances that we were made with. You know, that's why cancer tends to be a disease as you get older. You know, you live long enough, and those cells replicate enough times. Right. There's going to be a mistake, and sometimes that check and balance machinery that takes care of those mistakes gets a little lazy, or the cancers evolve faster than us, and trying to find ways to flip that switch back on. Right. And that's really where the immunotherapies are taking the field in general. Okay.
In addition to that, right here in Missouri, we have the Missouri University Research Reactor. Tell me about that. It's on the campus of the University of Missouri. Tell me about that and what that means to your field.
That, I love this question, because I love telling people about it, because I think this is something that, as a Missourian across the state, we should be very proud of. But where that has truly impacted my patients, and this is, you know, just recently, is through a medication for metastatic prostate cancer. Okay. And this medication is called Pluvicto. So Pluvicto is what we call a radiopharmaceutical. And so it uses a vessel, and then it's got a payload, we say, a radioisotope called lutetium-177. Okay. And lutetium-177 is generated at the Mizzou Research Reactor. The MU Research Reactor is the only reactor in the United States that produces lutetium-177. Wow. And so every dose of Pluvicto given in the United States and I don't know, possibly Canada, Mexico, I don't know if it goes international, but every dose of Pluvicto given in the United States was generated at the MU research reactor.
Wow.
And we're talking probably, I would guess, 40 to 50,000 men a year would be candidates for that. It's typically a 6 treatment course, so you're looking at 150 to 200,000 treatments that Mizzou generates.
Wow.
Yeah, and that field of radiopharmaceuticals is truly in its infancy. And another thing that I think as Missourians we should be proud of is that Mizzou is they're raising funds to open a second next generation research reactor to just harness the power of what they're doing so well to start developing new radiopharmaceuticals. And so in my world, I think we're going to continue to rely on what's in our backyard to help our patients. And we just started with administering Pluvicto, our radiation oncology department at Mercy Southeast Cancer Center a couple of months ago.
Okay.
And so we are the only facility between St. Louis and Memphis, which I am proud of.
Sure.
Because to your point earlier about rural access to healthcare, this is, a specialty care, but I can't tell you the number of patients that I have recommended Pluvicto for that have to go 3+ hours to get to St. Louis or Memphis, and sometimes that was just either cost prohibitive or transportation prohibitive.
Right.
So yeah, it's exciting stuff, but.
So it's cutting edge. I mean, it's where we're going. So does it take the place of traditional radiation therapy, or is it in addition to?
So many times I would say more in addition to, and doesn't take the place of other oral targeted therapies or chemotherapies. But if you have to have the exact antigen on the cancer cell. So you have to have that protein on the cell surface of the prostate cancer cell called PSMA. That is the vehicle. So there's an antibody to that protein that's the vehicle that drives the lutetium there. Once it engages, injects, and gives off that radioisotope activity. But they're looking, so there are very few cancers that have those specific proteins or receptors that are unique to them, but that's really where the field is going there. So I think it just adds another another layer to the armamentarium. So.
Well, Dr. Moore, it's been amazing to get to chat with you today. You've given us so much information in a short time. I am so encouraged by the things you say about the field of oncology. Everybody's life at some point, everybody's family is touched by cancer. And to see what you're saying and hear what you're saying about the progress we're making in treatment and the research that's going on is very encouraging to me. So thank you so much for joining us. We're thrilled to have had you here for Very Interesting. Dr. Andrew Moore, he's a hematologist oncologist from Mercy Southeast Hospital in Cape Girardeau. The Cancer Center there at Mercy Southeast, one of the best in the area, and we're thrilled to have had him here with us today. And we'll see you next time.